Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and obviously having all these general tips videos, champion pool guides and such things that we've had recently, we need to have gameplays that show us how to actually use these tips in a practical way. And in this video we are going to be taking a look at the evolution of Graves' build and itemization. Now you very intelligent people who saw the thumbnail would understand that he is going Smite and Ignite. Yes, of course, with the Phase Rush rune set. So I don't think we need much more of an introduction. We all know Graves is the best jungler in the game along with Kayn. So don't forget to please like and subscribe if you enjoy and learn something. And if you'd like to vote on what champions you see in these sorts of videos and also want to support quality over quantity, please head to the Patreon. And now with that said, we are going to look at how Smite Ignite Phase Rush Graves with his specific lethality build can basically allow you to carry like it's your job. And yes, that means this video is sponsored by Hitmarker. Not all of us can make a living on being a carry jungler, so for those of you looking to get into esports and gaming, Hitmarker is the leading website for crab hunters of all talent levels looking for work. Search for your niche, expertise or interest area, jobs for noobs and 1000 game veterans. Do you want to work remotely or relocate to get away from a local Shaco player? The website provides a simple layout, easy to navigate website that allows you to find the gaming and esport job you've always wanted. Even Riot Games, our humble overlords, are actively posting countless jobs ready for you to take your tracking skills to the next level. Click the link below to find your dream gaming job from Hitmarker. And now as we head into the video, you will see a very messy level 1. The Ignite does give you an advantage in this case, but we really don't take Ignite just to win level 1s. That will be the definition of a frivolous strategy. Now when we take Ignite on a jungler, we usually take it on a champion who has some sort of mobility, and in Graves' case of course his E and his ultimate provide him that mobility. Think Shaco, some people are doing it on Lee Sin as well. It basically gives you that combat summoner that you would get from a spellbook setup, except of course you're stuck with this rune setup for the whole game, and you are really embracing the carnivore style of jungling we talked about in the previous video. As such, while Graves is an omnivore style jungler, yes he farms, yes he scales, and that's still the objective, but we really want to use this setup on level 2 ganks, on invades, on pressure, on map control. There's no point taking a combat summoner if you're not actually, gonna go into combat. So after taking his red with his E, he goes to the mid lane level 2 gank. The one thing we can learn from these early skirmishes, especially the 4v4s and 5v5s, is that when summoners are burned, we must abuse this. W second, free kill on Twisted Fate. Graves saw Karthus go to the bottom side and start on the blue, and because he was spamming Q for that entire early level 1, he had no choice but to start on the blue buff. And of course, the thing about farming junglers that are slow and that just want to AFK clear and use their ultimates later on, you can really predict what they're going to do. The difference between taking Ignite and Flash in this case is that the Ignite really sells the fantasy of I'm going to go steal your red buff, I'm going to take your whole campsite, I can 3-buff you and there's nothing you can do about it. Except of course if Fiora pushes top lane with no flash and Graves says, well you know what, let me go top lane. So he goes and speaks French to Fiora, chunks her and forces her to go back. Karthus on the other hand recognizes this level 2, and now because this is a high elo game will counter jungle, take raptors and Krugs. Ryze on the other hand didn't realize this was a high elo game and decides to go back under tower, one shot and give Karthus a freebie. Now remember, with the carnivore style like this, you're down 3 camps now, you're down a kill and assist. There's no reason to panic because you still have the 1v1 capability, and the power of this particular setup will shine in the mid and late game as well. Remember, not only do you have Phase Rush as a sticky rune, which is very strong in a lot of champions, your E quick draw also resets for every pellet that impacts an enemy. So really, in terms of mobility and stickiness against a squishy team comp, Graves is more than covered. And on the note of covering, make sure you have crab insurance. We definitely want at least one of those scuttles under our possession at the 315-minute mark of every game. And now, as I said, carnivore, omnivore Graves can really do anything, but you do need to farm and scale as well as a Karthus or better. So you would have seen by the kill map, hey, look, Karthus shows up, he kills Ryze, he's definitely on my raptors. Let me take this crab, take his raptors, red Krugs. Karthus has a drive-by in the mid lane with Thresh to get another assist. Graves then is about to go back, watches Fiora, cancels it, and then uses that beautiful Ignite to burn down their Fiora before she can slice up the fat man into a bunch of ham. Well, human ham. So, metaphorically of course. Shove the wave, Grump Wolves, and now back to base. Remember, you have a combat summoner, you need to be everywhere, high kill participation, you want to be involved in every decision, you want to be the Tony Soprano of the Mafia skin line, except of course we're not allowed to say that according to Riot, so basically head of the crime city, whatever they called it, syndicate thing. And at the same time you watch Graves walk into the river and gets collapsed on, and now he's dead on the water. I was gonna say sleeping with the fishes, but The problem is though, once you've enforced a vertical jungling meta and you've taken round 2 of your Grumper Wolves as well as taken all of Karthus' jungle, there's no reason for him to be on the top side at the moment, and thus sort of making this aggressive move early. The enemy jungler gets a whole bunch of kills and assists, they get the dragon. It looks like red team might be in control and the Ignite really isn't doing that much work. Respawn, do a full clear, get whatever camps you can, and now look to the next objective, which is the Herald. He goes straight for the fight. He has Triumph and Alacrity, which means his E will be up more frequently. He has the Triumph for regeneration. He uses the Ignite on the Karthus along with the Braum passive to ensure he's taken out. He will also use a Stalker's Blade to make sure they get the Herald, so that's Nimbus Cloak from both summoner spells. And with the Phase Rush and the E reset and his ultimate, does it look like this champion has any issue with mobility? Does it look like he's really missing the flash? Sure, you can miss certain flash Q combos, flash orders, and so on. But against certain targets like Karthus, where you don't really want to stick in his AoE too long, he's got that whole spirit super random thing, you don't want to walk in that. Ignite not only helps him burn down quicker, but of course Karthus likes to heal and take Ravidus as well. What if you're against the Soraka Ayumi? This combat summoner can do you wonders in these mid-game, early-game skirmishes. With that in mind, Wolf's Grom so you can sequence upwards, take on the Fiora, set the TF ult, kite back, use that Nimbus Cloak Phase Rush Stalker's Blade to avoid the Fiora's damage, get cleanups, Gragas finishes off the other one, and now we can use the Herald to elevate the game state. I talk about this a lot in my gaming coaching channel, I'll link that below as well, but the whole principle of low elos using the Herald too soon can be very much a big negative. It's great to use it for plates and take towers, but will your team and the enemy team understand how to macro the next few minutes such that your lead can really allow you to win? Most of the time, no. However, in higher MMRs where you are the Carnivore style jungler, you're a Rek'Sai, you're an Elise, you're this kind of Ignite Graves, using this Herald and getting it such that you can take a tower and start roaming the map with your top laner, impacting the rest of the field and actually taking that lead everywhere is exactly what you want. It's like you have to let the Ignite possess you and think about all the evil things you can light on fire, just like the Middle Ages. Pretend everyone is a witch and that they turned you into a newt. You got better, but now you want to burn them. Right, so the first phase went in Karthus' favor, but more so as a byproduct of the level 1 stuff. Graves then took over completely and now the game is in his hands. And you'll notice the whole time farming in between, sequencing in the direction of where he wants to go, taking the camps off the map, getting the elevated experience, recycling them, sequencing them, and now red buff, dragon, take his blue buff, watch the map change like the seasons, and now it's time to get really fed. Fiora literally just walks into a bush where they might be and dies. I can't explain it to you, this is just what she's doing. You'll also note that bottom lane has taken the tower and his bottom lane, Graves' bottom lane, still has 5 plates. Mid lane has 4 plates. So it's not like the gold lead of the game is just Ruffle Stomp Runaway 1v9, although that's what we're going to have to do if Graves wants to carry. You can see a spicy Twitch Prime example of that. Yes, I do stream at twitch.tv/Virkayu, although I'm kind of on a break at the moment until next week, but nonetheless, they're fighting over this blue buff. Graves does win, but once you get yellow carded and CC'd without the flash, there's really nothing you can do. So within these fights, you have to pay very careful attention to your positioning, target focus, and of course, sometimes you just have to accept your fate. Now at this point, that's a reality check. Yes, you think you're fed, you think your top's fed, but you realize, hey, the enemy bot lane has a Aphelios, 200 years. They are way ahead, I need to itemize properly and play the game properly. So he farms a lot during this downtime, taking some Krugs, taking his own camps, waiting for the next objective to spawn, which is the Herald. Make sure Karthus doesn't exist, however it's a little too risky to start this up, take a fight when you don't have a lot of resources. He goes back to base, and now normally with this build, when you have a whole bunch of squishies who aren't building armor, lethality can be amazing to give you shots of LPs directly into your vein. Just because you become an assassin, and with Ignite and with this kind of rune set, who's gonna beat you 1v1? That means, normally you go Duskblade. Yes, you want that Edge of Night, however, because he's against a Karthus, a Thresh, a Twisted Fate, that Edge of Night first is 200 IQ itemization. Wait in the bush, know that the Scuttle's spawning, the Dragon's spawning when Karthus shows up. Again, make sure he doesn't exist. I mean, does he even exist anyway? Do players of Karthus even exist? How do you just spam Q and press R all game and stay awake? Easy trap, easy dragon, easy scuttle, and as soon as the enemy starts to push past the vision line, this is what happens in solo queue. Yes, in pro play, in clash, maybe the enemy's a bit more reserved and intelligent, they're ward and they don't push past their vision line. In solo queue, they're gonna tilt and they're going to do it, but you need to make sure you are the carnivore, you have Ignite, you actually punish this. Way too many times after those good plays in the dragon area, the scuttles, the 1v1, you go back into your jungle, reset, and pat yourself on the head. Kill Fiora again. I think at this point, she's gonna ban Graves in the next lobby. Take all your camps. If the mid lane is taking him, shove him off, let him know you are the alpha, and he is stuck in 1999. And now I want to speak a bit more generally about the next phases of the game. You have Ignite, you have lethality, you win 1v1 against anyone on the team. You must make sure to venture into the jungle, take the camps, set the traps, solo kill the Fiora again. But what it does give you very interestingly is an absolutely disturbing amount of split push control. Whenever you have this combat summoner, this movement speed, the Nimbus Cloak, the phase rush, you have a burst kit and burst itemization. You are really a 1v9 carry jungler, and the worst thing you can do with this is to play supportive. You have to be aggressive and say basically, I'm carrying the game, give me a side lane, let me actually use this power. And if they don't give you one, you take one. And on that note, make sure you reset in time and spend your gold so that you can secure those dragons. Too often when you're split pushing or trying to find someone to 1v1, you will get drastically caught up in that activity, and then you go back to base and you're too late for the dragon and you give up that objective control. Ensure you are using that Fnatic Gucci synergy so that your timing is absolutely perfect, just like self-mades. Get back into the field, the double ignite on Aphelios is very strong, and then the Gragas is a god sent from some kind of weird bakery because that ultimate stops the Karthus ult, and that gives you yet another dragon. Take your red, go into the enemy jungle. You see the Karthus top side, and that means when the Fiora runs into you down 2 levels, yeah, I kind of feel a little bit bad, not too much because she's playing Fiora, so it's just like a fleeting feeling of sadness, but then I remember we're junglers and this is amazing. But again, cut off the wave, go back into the jungle, make sure you own this entire territory. You are basically a Rengar, an Evelynn, an assassin. And there's only one champion in the game on the enemy team that's really very irritating. Stick around just a little bit extra so we can let Riot really know what we think of Aphelios. However, that might have been pushing it just a little bit against, say, Twisted Fate Karthus and such things. Make sure you don't give too much of a shutdown and pressure release by overstaying. And finally, you will see highlights of how he closed this game up, basically 3 phases. If there's a dominant split pusher and there's no other pressure on the map for objectives, make sure you take them out again, feast on their bones. And then of course the Dragon Soul upcoming is the most important. Win that fight, navigate it properly, use your ER properly, use that ignite to give you some ability in the fight as well. And with the kind of lead you have, you should be able to win it. Get the Dragon Soul, group up, take the Baron, and then close it with some simple brute force macro. If we wanted elegant macro, we wouldn't be in solo queue, but your lead in positioning and rune set should definitely give you enough mobility, damage, and burst to basically control the outcome of any game where you have a lead. Well, there you have it, another 1v9 Graves Phase Rush Smite Ignite strategy from Korea, now being adopted in US as well as North America. Definitely China as well. I hope you were able to enjoy and learn something. Please do like, share, and comment if you did. Don't forget to check out the Patreon if you want to have perks such as voting and tier lists, and even enhanced scuttle crab hunting techniques. Thank you once again for watching, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.